Hi team, so today we are graphing straight lines using the x and y intercepts. So when a straight line cuts through the x and y axis, these are called intercepts. As you can see here, this would be the y-intercept and this would be the x-intercept, since that's the x-axis and this is the y-axis. For the line y equals x plus 2, this is a linear equation. If we plotted it using a table of values, we would see that it would go through this point here at 0, 2 on our y-axis and at this point here at negative 2, 0 on our x-axis. Now, we would say, obviously, at this point, that's our x-intercept because that's where it cuts through that x-axis. Okay, that's our y. At that point, negative 2, 0, the actual x-intercept we say is x equals negative 2 because that's the spot on the x-axis it cuts through. Notice at that point, y is equal to 0. Whereas for the intercept, our y-intercept, that's at the point 0, 2. The second part of that coordinate, remember, is our y value. So this is where x is equal to 0, and that gives us our y-intercept of 2. Okay? Something to note is that x-intercepts are always when y equals 0, right? Because that's the point y equals 0. This whole line, any point on there, would look something like an x value and then 0 because y is equal to 0 along that whole line. Whereas with our y-intercept, that's where x is always equal to 0. And again, the same thing, anywhere along this line, it would have a value of 0 and then something for y. And that is not a coincidence. So something to think about, how many points does it take to actually plot a straight line? Well, having a look here, you can plot a perfectly straight line by only using 2 points. It's obviously impossible to plot it using 1 point because you've got no idea which direction it goes to. Something else that's quite interesting is for this linear equation, y equals x plus 2, what do you think happens when we substitute x equals 0 into this equation? Let's have a look. So when x is equal to 0, if we sub it in there, we get y equals 2. When we sub y equals 0 into our equation, we get that. Solving for x, we get x is actually equal to negative 2. Mathsident. So this is a coincidence, but you think it's a coincidence, but it's just maths. Mathsident, funny. I know, I literally just made it up and I think I'm hilarious. Okay, so let's graph some straight lines using the x and y intercepts. All you need is 2 points, and these 2 points are from our x and y intercept. So for our x-intercept, what we need to do is, this is when y is equal to 0, right? Remember, it's along this line where y is equal to 0. So for our equation, y equals negative 4x plus 8, we're going to sub y equals 0. So 0 equals negative 4x plus 8. Then we're going to solve for x. So we're going to move the plus 8 to the other side by subtracting 8 from both sides. That leaves us with negative 8 is equal to negative 4. And then we're going to divide both sides by negative 4. Remember, they cancel each other out, and we're left with 2 is equal to x, which is the same as, remember, x is equal to 2. What that means is, at that point, that's our x-intercept. Whoops, that is not the colour I was after. And what is that? Okay, so that is our x-intercept. We know it's going to cut through at x equals 2. For our y-intercept, we sub x equals 0. So in our equation, y equals negative 4x plus 8. We're going to sub x equal to 0. and we're left with y is equal to 8. And that means at the point y equals 8, that's going to be our y-intercept. So we can plot that over on our Cartesian plane. We know that it's going to cut through our y-axis at 8, and we also know it's going to cut through our x-axis at 2, and now you've literally got 2 points that you can just join using a straight line. There we go. How good's that? Label our line, y equals negative 4x plus 8, and there you go. Something else to notice is if we have a look here, notice how those just are not the only 2 points on our straight line. Like we've got that point there, which we would have found using our table of values. So we would have drawn it up and found these other points. Now, having a look, at the point x equals 3, we have the coordinate 3, negative 4, right? Like that's actually a point on our line. What you will notice is if you sub in x is equal to 3 into our equation, what do you get? Well, you get negative 4, which is also a mathsident. Okay, we will look more at points on straight lines next lesson. Today, just focus on plotting straight lines with x and y intercepts. Bye.